What happens when a serial killer finds new life in a world that no longer expected him to return? Dexter Resurrection picks up where New Blood left off, not just reviving a character presumed dead, but reshaping the very nature of his story. Most revival aims for nostalgia, comfort, a familiar echo of what once was, but this isn't that. This is a resurrection that discards predictability and dares to feel dangerous again. Dexter isn't just back, he's in motion, unpredictable, guided now by feelings that never used to exist. The rules have changed, the city is louder, the stakes are sharper. And with every calculated kill, he isn't just hunting monsters, he's resurrecting the very code that once defined him. This season doesn't offer safety nets. It throws you into the unknown, demanding you to watch as a legend tries once more to balance legacy, darkness, and the slim hope of redemption. Because resurrection isn't about starting over, it's about confronting everything that never truly died. So if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and check out my other videos after this one. And follow my new Substack in the link below for more personal reviews on the TV shows that I watch. And now, without further ado, let's explore Dexter Resurrection. Chapter 1. Expect the Unexpected Squared. Over the course of a season, we usually have a formula in which the series will end. There will be one final fight between Dexter and the main focus killer that the series has been pursuing, leading that killer onto Dexter's table for Dexter to kill. Then there will be one final twist that sets up the next season, or a moment of peace in the midst of Dexter's killing. But that playbook was for the original series. When Dexter is resurrected, the series too is resurrected. But not a perfect mirror. It parallels some parts, yes, but what is more shocking than any other season is that it becomes very hard to predict where the series is going. The pace of the series shifts, significant characters we thought would be important when they were introduced are quickly dealt with, and the twist keeps racking up. This is the brilliance of what happens when Dexter is resurrected. The story matches a pace in which we can't see anything coming. The narrative feels different, almost exciting in each episode. The wake of destruction that Dexter causes in the middle of the busiest city in the US is a completely different environment than what the viewers have come to expect in his former home turf, Miami, and even Iron Lake. As the audience starts to theorize about what the future will hold, with prominent characters and serial killers like Lady Vengeance and Gemini Killer introduced and then dealt with swiftly, we're constantly forced to rethink those theories. Each new drop, each new kill sends the story spiraling into an unexpected direction. It becomes a fascinating game of cat and mouse as the viewers in the series engage in a battle who can correctly predict what's coming next. And that fight is what keeps the audience deeply engaged. The brilliance of a narrative lies not only in getting the viewers invested in the characters and the world, but also promoting them to engage with the material, to start crafting theories, to anticipate outcomes, only to be completely thrown off by the actual direction the story takes. And when that happens, it leaves us not just surprised, but tenfold more impressed. Chapter 2. The Return of the Dark Passenger. Anyone who has watched Dexter since the beginning will understand the significance of the Dark Passenger, a manifestational being in Dexter's subconscious that compels him to kill. Dexter had often compared himself with others who had similar urges, but his actions were shaped differently by a code instilled in him by his adoptive father. This code ensured that the people he killed weren't innocent or random victims, as most serial killers who have similar urges might choose, but rather those that escaped justice. Murderers, predators, and criminals. When Dexter returned in Dexter New Blood, we saw a different version of him, one who has somehow suppressed his urges to kill for a full decade. It was a shock to witness this restraint, especially since deep down, part of the audience's appeal in the original series was watching Dexter exact justice on the wicked through his kills. New Blood offered very little of that. His first kill after a long hiatus, followed by just a few more, felt limited in scale, especially when compared to the original series. But when the show was resurrected again, the dark side, the Dark Passenger, returned in full force. For viewers, this brought back some of the most satisfying and at times surprising kills. Now in New York, Dexter finds himself in a starkly different environment compared to the sun-soaked order chaos of Miami. The New York setting is far more unpredictable, a world where scenarios that might seem too far-fetched elsewhere suddenly feel plausible. From a rideshare killer dubbed the Dark Passenger to a billionaire hosting a secret meeting for serial killers, this chaotic background becomes Dexter's new hunting ground. Dexter's initial kill, targeting a serial killer, whom the media dubbed the Dark Passenger, who Dexter sees as a threat both to New York and to the balance of his dual identity, sets the tone for the season. Two other kills that followed, especially those tied with Prater's twisted serial killer gatherings, were both satisfying and occasionally unpredictable. While the pattern doesn't mirror his Miami days exactly, Dexter Resurrection marks a new purpose. In New York he thrives, not just as a predator of predators, but as someone reclaiming and redefining his legacy by taking out some of the most dangerous killers he's ever encountered. Chapter 3: Legacy of Mistakes Left Behind. Dexter's narrative is never about just the kill. At its core, it has been a number of mistakes that have led to where we are now. That legacy of mistakes is why Dexter is now in New York, trying to rekindle his relationship with his son Harrison, the only person in the world that can understand him in a way, while also trying to embrace the duality of himself and his dark passenger. From well before the original series began, Dexter's life has already been entangled with mistakes. The mistakes that cost him his normal childhood, the tragedies that gave rise to his urges to kill, the complicated relationship he had with his wife, and the eventual death that led his son witnessing a moment that would spark even more tragedies. By the time the events of New Blood unfolded, all those past mistakes come surging back the moment Dexter reemerges. His mistakes are no longer just his burden to bear, but they also affect those he chooses to surround himself with, both in the present and from the past. Past ghosts who believe Dexter had perished begin to stir again, their suspicions reawakening as they sense a truth they once dismissed. Meanwhile, his current relationship, especially the one with his son, are being tested once more as they reunite for a second time. These two relationships, his past and his future, defines the legacy Dexter has built. On one side, his future represents the chance at a new kind of humanity, something he seemed to have discovered after being resurrected. On the other side, his past, embodied by Batista, starts digging into the very things that could bring everything crashing down. Now every action Dexter takes is wrapped and intertwined with both the life he once had and the life he wished to build. That central question the series has long asked remains. What is Dexter's fate in this world? What kind of a psychopath is he? Is he someone willing to risk everything to satisfy his urges, only to find he's perhaps more human than he was raised to believe? Can he ever truly outrun the mistakes that made him? The people who died as casualties in his ongoing pursuit of that elusive sense of normalcy? Chapter 4: What is coming next? Dexter Resurrection has been a roller coaster of a ride to say the least. What began as a simple concept, bringing Dexter back from the brink of death after being shot at the end of Dexter New Blood, has expanded the Dexter universe into something much bigger, and dare I say it, terrifying. Each episode of the season truly delivered the best narrative it could offer. Unexpected events unfolded rapidly, pushing the story forward in a way that made anything we wanted to see happen arrive sooner and far more unexpectedly than anticipated. This inner discovery, as Dexter confronts human emotions he never truly faced in the original series, brings a new depth to his character. He grapples with existence in a way that feels more grounded, and his relationship with his son Harrison reaches the ultimate point of acceptance. Now he and Harrison stand as equals, both understanding that while they share a version of the dark passenger, they are fundamentally not the same. With that understanding comes a deeper bond. They're the only two links in a chain who will ever fully comprehend one another. To find peace, they must accept everything about one another. And with that said and done, as the final confrontation between Dexter and Predator begins, it becomes clear that the entire season has been building towards this moment. Here, Dexter, a man literally resurrected, must come to terms with what that resurrection truly means. Meanwhile, Predator, who in many ways mirrors Dexter's own life, faces the brutal truth. He doesn't have the control he once believed he did. While Batista's death in the penultimate episode came as a shock, and outright disappointing for many, the truth was there was an inevitable escalation of tension between Dexter and Predator. This storyline hints at a rich possibility for future seasons, especially now that Dexter has discovered a dossier of serial killers that Predator had created. With this knowledge, he now has an expansive hunting ground at his disposal. At the same time, New York's law enforcement gets its due. As Predator's secrets unravels and his vault for serial killer memorabilia is discovered, the season ends on a somber but charged note. Dexter is no longer confined. He's free to roam not just New York, but the entire country, hunting those in the files Predator left behind. It's a bold expansion of the universe. And who's to say other former colleagues of Dexter won't return to continue the legacy Batista started? Now it's no longer a question of when they'll return, but who, as Dexter once again lives to kill another day. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon in the next review episode.